G'day there guys, and welcome to some more stories from Reddit. My name is Connor, and thanks for joining me today. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okay, well, on relationship advice, this one was written by user Individual Diamond 606, and it's titled, My mum wanted to force a reconciliation between me and my sister, but it backfired. I don't know if I want her in my life anymore. Background. I started dating my brother's best friend when I was 16. We were together until I graduated high school when he proposed and I rejected it. There was a lot of drama, with my family asking me to reconsider because, quote, we could have a long engagement or make a promise to reconcile. My relationship with my brother, 36, suffered for a while, but the one with my sister, 32, never recovered. She was sure my ex was the best fit for me and became unbearable when she started dating my ex's brother. My ex was invited everywhere by my siblings, even to some family holidays, but I didn't say anything since he was their friend too. That is until my sister started to push for us to get back together. My sister did everything from trying to get us on blind dates to making us share a room during holidays. No matter the occasion, my ex was invited to it. After a while, I had enough and asked my parents to intervene. They were clear with my siblings and stopped inviting my ex to things or allowing him to tag along so much. It was slightly better, but while my brother backed off, my sister didn't. It all came to a crash when I met my husband during a semester abroad. He was from another university, but the same country, and we just clicked. It was magical for me, and we got engaged after dating for a year. My family was very happy for me, except my sister. She kept insisting I was in the honeymoon phase and will grow out of it. I clearly didn't, and after many, I can't express how many, fights and attempts to reunite me with my ex, I simply let her know if she pulled anything again, I will stop talking to her. What does she do after that warning? Makes me her maid of honor and requests I spend all my time with the bridal party, aka my ex, and sets one of her friends as my husband's date. We didn't realize until we were at the reception, and the poor girl tried to make a pass at my husband. My sister said that since we're not married, it was okay to explore things with other people. I left the party and the next day spoke with my parents and brother, explained that while I won't make them choose, I will not talk to my sister ever again, and if they try to fix stuff between us, I'll simply cut contact with them too. My mum was devastated and tried to negotiate, but my dad and brother said they would respect my decision, and apart from 2 attempts from my mum, I haven't spoken, written, or anything with my sister in the past 6 years. My sister has tried everything to reconcile with me, from gifts to tantrums, but I simply won't talk to her at all. If we're at a family event or dinner, I simply act like she doesn't exist. At first, she made snarky comments or tried to create drama, but since nobody backed her up, she gave up. She did have a meltdown when she was informed she was invited to my wedding, but would not be a part of any preparation. My brother says he feels guilty for going along with it for so long, and his relationship with my ex has suffered since my ex. They still talk, but they're not as close anymore. The issue. My mum's birthday was a couple weeks ago, and I finally announced we're expecting our first child. This is not the first grandchild, but it's the first granddaughter. Everybody was happy, except my sister. My mum noted that and asked me for tea the other day. My sixth sense told me to not go, but I wanted to be positive. The first thing I noticed when I arrived was my sister's car. Then as I entered the door, there was my sister, her husband, my ex, and my ex-mother-in-law. They wanted to have an intervention since my childish tactic has gone for so long. My ex said that he was just trying to be romantic, but he understands I couldn't appreciate it. His mum said I was just hurting my sister for wanting the best for me, and she apologized already, so I need to forgive her. I was just sending texts to my family, dad, brother and husband, and looking at my mum in disbelief. My brother-in-law had the balls to tell me I was a hurtful person and I need to learn how to act like an adult since I'm having a baby now. Then my mum began reading a letter about how hurt she was her daughters weren't close, how my sister was wrong but she had good intentions, etc. Then my sister read her letter and began crying and telling me basically another version of what the rest did. I said nothing to anybody. I just sat there until my brother arrived. He was angry beyond anything I've ever seen before. He grabbed my stuff and told them all he was really disappointed and disgusted. We went outside and sat in his car until my dad and husband arrived. By then I was just sobbing and he kept saying sorry. I'm unsure what happened in there, but I sent everybody, except Mum, an email with my lawyer's number info attached and stated I don't wish to be contacted by any of them ever again, and if they do, I'll go to the police. Nobody has contacted me, but I know from my dad that my mum and sister are hysterical. They told him they hoped to repair things and for my sister to be able to be in my baby's life, maybe possibly being a godmother. My dad is staying with my brother at the moment. They support me, but some others in the family don't. I've even had mutual friends call me since they're worried about my sister's well-being and asking me what happened, since she's now going by the narrative that my husband is keeping me away from my family. I hate having my business in public, but I did go to the public route and posted a long Facebook post about everything that happened. Sister, brother-in-law and ex are being dragged, which even if it wasn't 100% intended, I feel is deserved. Now, my mum has been inconsolable, which does make me feel bad, but not as bad as she made me feel with her little intervention. I agreed to have a talk with her a couple of days ago and laid the ground rules for any possible future interaction, including therapy, family therapy, clear boundaries, no sharing information about me with my sister, and separate holidays. Most important, if she ever pulls anything like this again, she will for sure be cut off. She feels this is too much, but is willing to do it. She thought it meant immediate access to baby news, and it's all solved, but I told her it's a process and she needs to prove she has improved. My dad and brother refuse to talk to my sister, and they keep apologizing for not stopping it earlier. We've forgiven them since they were able to move on and grow. My husband supports whatever I decide, but my mother-in-law is unsure cutting my mum's access to her granddaughter is the way to go, but says it's ultimately my decision. I am torn about what to do with my mum. Oh man, what a crappy situation. I mean, yeah, ultimately this is up to OP on whether or not she wants to give her mum another chance. I think the sister's past that point, obviously, but the mum, yeah, on to OP. Let's check out some comments. Your sister is frickin' unhinged. I'm so sorry. This is over a guy you dated in high school. 35? So, like, she thinks you should marry the dude you were puppy loving in high school like almost 20 frickin' years ago? I'm 33, so basically we're the same age and certainly same high school era. That was like 2001. You know, George W. Bush was in office and you two were actually popular. And the iPhone wasn't even thought of yet, lol. I had to Google and look up popular in 2001 to find these things out, because I barely remember the early 2000s. The Xbox had just come out, the original one, with the first Halo. The first Halo. Yeah, that's how long we're talking about here, lol. That's how long it was ago. Holy frickin' crap, that's so over the top, I just can't. You're 35, almost middle-aged. My god, your sister, is she like developmentally disabled or something? I mean, dude, that's all I got for this one. Dude. OP replies, yes, we are almost the same age. The most ridiculous and scary thing is, he still has the mixtapes or CDs I made him when we were dating. Those things are about 20 years old and he still holds on to them. Another comment says, what's their logic? Like, now that you're pregnant, you should stop playing make-believe with your husband and realize your happy ever after is with your ex? What about your baby? Your ex and his family are going to accept her? OP replies, my sister claims she's not trying to get us together anymore, but that I can't take away her chance to be an aunt. She says I'm a bad sister for being close with my sister-in-laws, who are amazing people. I obviously don't believe her. My issue is what to do with my mum. Another comment says, she couldn't be your best friend without dating your ex? Opie says, I wish I could tell you, but I have no idea what her thought process is. My husband has the theory she's just mentally unwell. And the ex? The most ridiculous and scary thing is, he still has the mixtapes I made him when we were dating. Those things are about 20 years old and he still holds on to them. Another comment says, I'm kinda surprised your stalker ex, and yes, I will call him that, is still in your brother's life. That said, hold firm with your mother. No timelines. She has to show she can stick to your rules. Sister needs to live with the consequences of her actions. Opie replies, to be fair to my brother, he did start to cut him off when I told my parents I was very uncomfortable with my ex around all the time. I was living away for college but would visit my family during breaks. He also made a very big effort to make my husband feel welcome, which deteriorated his relationship with my ex even more because he felt betrayed by my brother. Nowadays, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends, and he only speaks with my ex when it's about our nephew, or to not be rude. Another comment adds, "You need to realise that your mum is supporting all of this. A big reason Big Sis is continuing this is because she knows your mum also thinks it's right." Opie says, "This makes me very sad, since my mum was always so nice to my husband, and now I'm reevaluating their whole relationship." On Opie's background and culture. "I'm not Indian, nor from a religious family. My parents were good, nice parents. They thought it was a romantic thing at the beginning, but later realised it wasn't. They encouraged me to go to college and everything. Now I know my dad actually supported me, and my mum may have just played along and had the same beliefs as my sister. My sister had this idea that we would be best friends, married to brothers." Yeah, really weird fantasy for the mum to kind of cling on to there. Opie makes an update/clarification post. "The edit I wanted to post but couldn't. I want to thank you for the amount of support and advice so far. I want to give a little more info that is in my comments since there's too many for me to answer them all individually. My ex and I broke up when I was 18. He is 37 now. The reason for our breakup was that I didn't want to get married or engaged. My sister's insistence comes from the fixation of wanting the both of us to marry brothers and being best friends. My mum has always been so nice to my husband, but I'm beginning to think it was all a facade, which makes me very sad. My ex has been with people since the breakup. He also has 2 kids with an ex, but he's never been married. My sister says that it's a very romantic thing to do since he's only ever wanted to marry me. I should also mention his obsessive behaviour is not only with me. I know from the grapevine he was very similar with the mother of his children, but now he is refocusing on me because my sister is encouraging it, since she needs his help on getting back in my good graces so she can be a good aunt. My brother did start to cut him off when I told my parents I was very uncomfortable with my ex around all the time. I was living away for college but would visit my family during breaks. He also made a very big effort to make my husband feel welcome, which deteriorated his relationship with my ex even more because he felt betrayed by my brother. Nowadays, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends and he only speaks with my ex when it's about our nephew, the sister's son, or to not be rude. Both my parents seemed to be supportive of me not wanting to be around my ex so much, but I guess only my dad was in agreement. On the day of the tea party, my mum told him she was making me my favourite tea and sweets, but he couldn't stay since we would have quality time together. My dad left to go hang with my uncle since he thought it was a nice sentiment from my mum. He's very ticked off. My husband tried very hard with my sister when they met, but now he just ignores her and believes she is mentally unwell. We don't know if she is or not. Still, there's no excuse for how she behaves. They invited the ex and his mum because they thought it would be good for me to face the root of my issues with my sister, or at least is their official version. Also, we're not Indian, not really religious. My husband and I are from the same race. There is also no wealth disparity between my ex and my husband. If there is, it would be in favour to my husband. Lastly, my sister-in-laws, both my brother's wife and husband's sisters, are enraged about the situation. My husband and his sisters will be talking with their mum about her comment. My brother and his wife are considering going no contact with my mum permanently. In the meantime, they will not allow her to see my nephews for a bit. The more I read, the more I think I might have to go no contact with my mum for the sake of my kid. My husband is heartbroken to think all their interactions were faked, but says he's even more enraged she made me cry and doubt I was a good person. I realise there are still countless conversations to have with my family about my mum, but I'll definitely be going for a restraining order against my sister and the ex. The proper semi-update. The state of my family so far. I had a conversation with my mother, but she insists she knew best. I am a bad person, and she'll be getting grandparents' rights or even custody. I am nothing what she says, but I still panicked, so we sent her a letter about it. My dad moved out definitely. He told her that he could not sign on her terrorizing his kid. My brother and his wife also decided to go no contact. I know it seems very sudden, but I think I undersold the level of despair I had after the intervention. My husband told them afterward they have to think very well about what they appreciated and to be kind and receptive to everything, but would not raise a kid in a toxic environment. Reason 3,271,637 why I love my husband. My husband is very heartbroken about my mum and her fakeness. He says she'll never get anything from him. That is as much as revenge goes here. My husband and sisters talked to my mother-in-law about her comment and made her understand why it was very out of it. As many of you assumed, she is a very loving mum from a loving family. My dad and brother kept apologising for any role they played in this. My dad can't believe it went to this point. He says it's still surreal for him. Regardless, they support me no matter what and say they're willing to help me fight whatever ridiculous fight my mum or sister put up. Yeah, thank God for the father and brother, right? Okay, on to another update, just over a week later. Final update, or I hope it is. I want to thank the lovely messages and encouraging words. I decided to post it here so it wouldn't be deleted like the original was. Things are great and horrible at the same time, but I'm trying to remain positive about everything. My brother and his wife sat my nephews down and explained that Grandma was ill and tried to hurt Auntie Diamond and the little cousin. They explained Grandma would not be a part of their lives anymore, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love them. It was really hard, but the kids are smart. They were also told other aunt is no longer in their life, but they don't care because they dislike her. Not because of me alone, simply because she is not exactly great with them either. My mum lost it when she was informed and started claiming she had rights and she will get to see her grandchildren. My dad is looking for a permanent place but will stay with us until January, mainly due to my brother's mother-in-law coming to visit and us having the space. He is really sad, has called divorce lawyers already, moved bank stuff, etc. He has been getting countless emails, messages and calls from my mum, but he doesn't reply to anything. The lawyer told him not to block her right now. He considered maybe forgiving her, but... I got a huge spike on my blood pressure a couple of days after my last post here because she decided to come to my place with my sister. My sister had never been to my home. My mum knew I didn't want her there, but I guess that doesn't matter anymore. The cleaning lady let them in since she knows my mum, and I haven't had the time to inform her she was not allowed to come in anymore. I was just coming from some errands, and I saw the car. This time I didn't go in. I called all of my relatives and my sister-in-law, the husband's sister, and was the one closer to me. She confronted them and told them either they leave or I call the police on them for trespassing. They left and I started feeling bad. We went to the doctor and they told me all the excitement was not good and I needed to start relaxing or it would hurt the baby. My dad went home with my brother, uncle, and my husband and took every single thing he could think of. My husband says my sister was there too, and she kept screaming at him that he destroyed her family. My dad told my mum and sister they almost killed the baby, and he also doesn't want to talk to any of them again. My sister kept sending messages to my brother, begging for help, but it's not happening. I am devastated and very sad for my nephew since he's losing so much of his family because his mother has some wacky ideas, but it is what it is. As per the custody and grandparent rights my mum wants to throw around so much, my lawyer sent her a letter stating she caused harm to my health and the baby, and if she keeps harassing me, it will become an official legal matter. My brother also sent her a letter accusing her of harassing me. Both mum and sister have refused to go to therapy. They might be mentally ill, but with all of this coming to light, it's obvious they've been in agreement for a long time. I will focus on spending the holidays with my family, being healthy, and going to therapy. Yeah, that's a pretty sensible track for OP to go on. And it turns out that wasn't the last update. Let's go to another one. Thank you, Reddit family. Hi, I've received some requests for an update and I had a little time, so decided it could be a good fit. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your comments, messages, and, well, every advice because I feel we owe you for being even more paranoid than we were being. A couple people asked me what method we used to know the gender of the baby. I announced it after 20 weeks. The reason for waiting so long is we've experienced a loss in the past, which we were preparing to announce when it happened, and we wanted to be sure and have a safety feeling about the announcement. Also, we were naive enough to think it would be special for my mum. And you were right. After posting, I handed it to my husband and he read your messages, comments and advice for some days. We swept the house and thankfully found nothing, but felt extremely unsafe, so we went to a hotel with my dad. But then we realised there was a tracker on my fur baby's vest. He's a very small dog and gets cold a lot, so he has a funny vest. Never in a million years would I have thought of looking there, but we discovered the tracker when my dad walked him around the hotel and my sister came and asked him about me and reconciliation. I was really upset, so we decided to move. Thankfully, we can afford it. We're renting at the moment and also renting out our place, so it's not just empty. I used to love that house, but now I feel it's ruined and tainted somehow. Sadly, my parents' house feels the same, and not only for me. We all, the brother, husband, dad, sister-in-law, and even my husband's family, changed our numbers, got new electronics and notified employers, friends and police. We also started therapy and family therapy. My dad and brother feel extreme guilt over the situation, even if I have truly forgiven them, but we are healing as a unit. My sister and mum insist they're not wrong, and they don't need therapy. My dad has a new will in which my sister's son gets a trust fund and some inheritance, but my sister gets a token amount. He's truly done with her. I was feeling bad for her, but I decided to focus my energy on my baby. She is here, and we are blessed. It is not the experience I thought of, since my mum is not around me anymore, but so many friends and family members have truly surprised us. By the end, we were so paranoid we started testing some people we were unsure of, telling them I was going into labour. It worked like a charm. We discovered who was still feeding info to my mum and sister and cut them out. The rest understood when we explained the reasoning. My ex, whom my friends now call Bates, went around saying the baby was his because we'd been having a torrid affair due to my undying love for him. Nobody believes him anymore, but it made my husband contact Bates's employer and tell him about all the craziness. Long story short, he was put on a suspension pending internal reviewing. I'm almost positive he'll be fired, since they've asked us for more and more info, and they seem really apologetic. My mum has tried to find us, but all the people that know of our location have gone no contact with her. My dad's lawyer sent her a letter stating that due to her instability, all correspondence will be through lawyers now. It has been us and my dad because I felt so bad for him being alone. He has promised he'll be fine and nothing is my fault, but I still feel awful. He has been the best babysitter, feeder, diaper changer in the universe. My nephews are loving as always, and my dad even got a visit with my sister's son. It came about because she kept making videos threatening to hurt herself if my husband didn't stop alienating her family, so my dad emailed her about seeing her son and told her he would call the police about her threats, so that seems to have stopped it. Lastly, someone brought up I gave Bates false hope. It can't be further from the truth. I spent years uncomfortable because I thought he would move on. Then after I spoke up and then met my husband, I spent such a long time fighting my sister about it. I had a very long engagement, which is why I married after my sister. I still love my mum and sister, but I choose a healthy life for me and my family over that love. I have discovered a lot of loyalty, love, and compassion through this whole thing. As strange as it may seem, I feel lucky it all exploded. Hopefully it's not much of a ramble. Big hugs from me. Yeah, silver linings I guess, right? I mean, this could have easily just kept coaxing along for the rest of OP's life, but like OP said, it all exploded and now she's able to kind of start from a clean slate, I guess. What are your thoughts? Okay, on to another update. A little Bates update. We officially moved into a new house, with my dad moving into the guest house. We had many discussions, both in and outside therapy, and we decided that while it would be good for him to be with us, we all still need our space. We're still renting out the old place and we'll be deciding what to do later. My dad has the grandchildren all together about 3 times a week now. He still has to see my sister's kid separately, since she refused to let him take the kid unless she knew where he lived, which to be fair is a normal thing, but considering she's crazy we don't want her close. My mum complained to the lawyers about how unfair it is my dad still gets to see all the grandchildren, but there's nothing she can do about it. About a month ago my dad told me he had a confession, and my stomach started hurting. Dear reader, he pays for my nephews, the sister's kid, schooling and babysitting, which is why she still allows him to see him. He felt so guilty for hiding it and didn't want to keep secrets. I assured him it was nothing wrong and to please don't feel bad. On Mother's Day, my dad got an email with a link to an Instagram account in which they made a sad video about my mum and how most of her family has abandoned her and how much of a saint my sister is for being there for her. It was really pathetic and enraged me, but I just sent it to the lawyer. Dad officially filed for divorce in May, and the process is still ongoing. My mum insists he's wrong, but my dad said he'd rather drink bleach than go back to her, so I think that's final. My brother and husband took my dad out for Father's Day and had a blast. My sister posted many things that day, but they managed to block my dad from even learning about it because we wanted him to enjoy it. They also did a camping trip with the kids, aka went to a hotel, got a suite, and put a tent in the middle area for the kids and a little teepee for a baby. Honestly, having the baby is one of the best things that's happened to me, and seeing my husband being the amazing father I knew he would be makes me so happy. It is tiring, but we have so much support. I feel grateful beyond anything because I have rocks on my side. My sister-in-laws and I now get to have a little calendar on sharing things all the kids get to do together that are age appropriate, and if they want to. We want to let them all know that they don't need to hang out with people they dislike and their voices matter. Right now they're all obsessed with the baby and say they're her protectors, and we get little get-togethers, brunch, etc. Honestly, having family time is now a pleasure and not a headache without my sister there. I know it's wrong to say, but she just sucks the positivity out of the room. My mother-in-law also loves having time with the baby and stays in the guest room about once a week. She asked politely and said she didn't want to take the baby for sleepovers or anything. I feel respected and heard by her, and yes, have broken down sometimes because I miss my mum a lot. I miss the mum I had, or thought I had, not the one that told me I would be a terrible mother or was a hateful woman. My therapist says it's a marathon and to focus on the good. Speaking about good, Bates was terminated. Not only that, but his reputation in his industry was not only damaged, but nuclear level damaged. So was his brother's, but because brother-in-law is not in an industry that cares as much about reputation, he still has his job as far as I know. Bates sent me a 12-page, double-sided, single-spaced letter about how hurt he is I'm denying him what's his, and my husband is so threatened by him that he had to go and destroy him professionally because he would not be able to destroy anything else. I said seemed because I didn't read it. My lawyer did and gave me a summary. I also heard from the grapevine, no, I don't ask people, they just tell me since they know he's stalking me, that the mother of his children moved, and he didn't even care and said it was for the best. This man doesn't even care about his kids, and wants to play family with baby and me. Sadly, he won't be homeless or anything because mummy already let him move back in with her, so I doubt he'll learn anything from this. Not the flashiest of updates, but just what it is. Oh, and my husband burnt or donated every single item given to him by my mum or my parents with my dad's blessing. He says life is too short to give her space in his life, even with memories. Now for some more comments. Someone says, I'm really glad you're coming through all of that with the good bits of your family very intact. I don't really get the firing part. I get Bates is a bad dude, but has he ever done anything that has relevance or a connection to his work? Opie replies, without giving up his industry, it's a very close-knit one, and when you get a bad reputation, it sinks you. He was thought as a nice but distant feminist single dad before this. He even told some co-workers I was with him for longer than we were. Another comment says, OP, I'm reading your full post from the best of Reddit at 1:30 AM from my home in India, and I have respect and sorry for what you've faced, and I hope your child grows to be healthy and nice as you both. I also hope this whole fiasco is over soon and you can be back with your mother after her ex-fantasy is over. Respect for you. Keep fighting. Opie says, that is a lovely sentiment, but I will never talk to my mum again. I miss her a lot. I cry a lot. She is not the person I thought she was, and the baby deserves the best family we can get, and my mum is not part of it. It breaks my heart, but I need to protect the baby. Opie adds more comments. I came to check the comments since Teculitas told me the sub was full of nice people, but so many snarky ones. I won't give more identifying info, but Bates is supposed to work with vulnerable people, which is why my husband contacted their employer. As for the money thing, we all come from well-to-do backgrounds for saying something, so I never thought he would suffer from money, but he also will never learn anything. Okay guys, there's a new update, 2 years later. Life after the tunnel for us. Hi Reddit, long time no see. I have some updates for you, but first I want to thank you for all your comments and messages. Every time I log into this account, I am bombarded by mostly positive things, and I appreciate it a lot. I'm unsure if anybody will read this, but for those who want updates, they are mainly good ones. With that out of the way, let's get to it. My parents are divorced now, after many fights and tantrums from my mother. She kept the house and got a bulk payment, but that is it. My dad is like a new man, and we're all so happy for him. A little throwback. When all the drama happened, we did not fire our cleaning lady. This is a woman that had been helping my husband's family for decades, and I was very stressed out about her being out of work because of what my crazy family did. Also, we're not slobs, and she's not polishing floors on her knees or anything like that. In any case, my dad spoke with her and told her she was on paid vacation, and until we had a new house, to please wait for us if she wanted, but she was absolutely not fired. She was really happy about it, and so was her family. My dad started to get food and stuff from them from time to time because they were so thankful about what he was doing for them. Well, she has a sister who owns her own nail salon, and my dad is dating her now. She is a very lovely woman and has grown children, so she understands the dynamics happening sometimes. He's been very clear he is not moving or marrying, and she is pleased with that because she likes her independence. My mother nearly had a stroke when she heard about this new relationship and kept saying it was a late midlife crisis and he had to resort to be a sugar daddy. This is obviously what I heard because I don't have any contact with her. But last I heard, she is having a hard time. She is struggling because she was never good at budgeting and relied on my dad to put a stop on ridiculous purchases. My sister is also struggling because my dad is not helping her with money anymore. You'll see, he was willing to keep helping her for the sake of my nephew, but then things got very rough. My nephew started calling my kid an affair baby, how she is not with her real dad, called my other nephews delusional, and during a birthday party, he even pushed one of my nephews on my husband's side, saying they were not my kid's cousins, only he was. The kids were perplexed and so confused, but immediately told an adult about it. My dad spoke with him, but he kept repeating it. He spoke with my sister and said she could do nothing to prevent a kid from telling the truth, and didn't all kids always tell the truth? He told her until there is a change, he is cutting them off. She panicked and cried, but she's also super stubborn, so now my nephew goes to a public school because, quote, my husband made my dad cut them off. Bates, well, he is still unemployed. I know I was cryptic about it, but he was in an industry related to vulnerable women, and some of it related to stalking. Irony much? That's why he was fired. The organisation he was in didn't want this to splash on them. I've received 2 more very long handwritten rambling letters from him, and since he only has my lawyer's address, guess who has the honour of receiving, reading and filing those ramblings? I love my lawyer, and he's a champ. Apart from that and the gossip, I've not had bad issues related to him, except for one. I was at the grocery store, and a random woman came over to ask if my kid was Bates's baby. I was speechless and shocked. I asked her what she was on, and she said he has a photo of us on his profile, and I should be ashamed of myself for hurting such a good man. Turns out he's still going by the narrative that my kid is his, and I loved him so much. That is all old news, but at the end, what shocked me the most was the pic comment. This is not a photo that has been public or anything like that. It was sent to a family group chat once, and that is it. I told my husband immediately, and he was enraged, but composed. We decided to smoke out the rat. Long story short, it was my dad's 2 sisters feeding info to my mum. My dad was so disappointed, but also had no doubts cutting them off. They're still begging him to talk to them again. My brother and his family are doing great. We see them a lot and have been in some family holidays since the last update. They are also no contact with my mum and sister. My sister-in-law is actually super happy about it because it turns out she was not a fan of our mum, but kept the peace. My in-laws keep being lovely as well. We allow mother-in-law overnight babysitting now too, and she's over the moon with it. Sometimes she has all her grandchildren under the same roof, and they're all delighted to be with her. She is a former flight attendant, so their favourite game is to pretend airplane. Overall, they love her, and we know she's good with our kids, so we don't worry. She had to make her socials private because my mum kept stalking her. I'm sure she is extremely jealous, but she made her own bed. Lastly, my husband keeps me sane whenever little things come up. We're thinking if we should have another baby, or maybe adopt one. We're still undecided. We have a great support system and the privilege to have these conversations. I still miss my mum a lot. I sometimes cry when I realise there are milestones I can no longer share with her, but she is a bad person, and the safety of my family matters more. Last fun fact, this Father's Day they actually went camping. It went great, apart from the mosquito bites and some ill-placed sunburns. Wow, okie dokie guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, a bit of an epic, but all in all a pretty good ending. Let's read some final comments. Bates is just mailing his love letters to the lawyer directly, huh? Another comment says, at this point I want to know if he has a humiliation kink or something, because my dude. And here I am excited because my single aunt went on a date this weekend. I'm glad to have such a boring life. The ex is not holding a candle, he's holding a coal mine fire that burns for decades. I love how they always claim grandparents' rights. This isn't a Reddit thing. I'm a therapist and I've had multiple people tell me their child's grandparents are threatening to sue for grandparents' rights. It's in the narcissist playbook, I swear. Yeah, you see it all too often. Anyway, that wraps that one up. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. Let me know down below. Alrighty, let's move on to another one. Okay guys, this next one was written on Am I the A-hole? It was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole because I don't want to take my stepson on vacation? Now guys, I believe I read this one a while ago, but there is a new update, so let's go through it again real quick. My husband, 39, and I have been married for 5 years. We have 2 children of our own, both girls aged 5 and 2. I also have a son, 10, from a previous marriage, but I was widowed. My husband's ex is barely involved in stepson's life at all. They got divorced when stepson was 2, and his ex wanted a fresh start, so my husband did the decent, selfless thing and had a complete custody of her son, even though he'd wanted shared custody. I got a bonus at work and I really want to go on vacation with just my family, just once. We've been on family vacations all together lots of times, but just once I wanted to spend my money going on vacation where I'm not looking after someone else's kid. I want stepson to stay with his mum while we go on vacation. My husband sees my point of view and is okay with it, and I don't think I'm being at all unreasonable. My mum found out what I was planning and says I'm being a complete a-hole. These are the reasons she says I could be the a-hole. 1. My mum says that if stepson's mum isn't properly involved in his life, I should be even more involved in his life to compensate. I think this is a completely unfair expectation. And 2. She also says that I'm being a hypocrite taking my son, but I think that's totally different because my son doesn't have another parent. I'm all he's got. If stepson's mum won't take him just for once, then obviously he'll come on vacation with us, but I don't think I'm the a-hole to ask if I can have a vacation with my own family just one time. It's not like I hate the stepson or something. He's a nice kid. He's just not mine. Am I the a-hole? Nah man, you sign up for that when you marry someone with kids, right? I have a feeling the comments are going to be a bit brutal with OP here. Quote, just my family just once. Your husband's son is your family, and you better not ever let that kid hear you say otherwise. Jesus Christ. Quote, I'm not looking after someone else's kid. Homie, that ship frickin' sailed when you married a man with a child. And quote, I don't think I'm the a-hole to ask if I can have a vacation with my own family just one time. Wanting a vacation with your family is fine. Deciding that your stepson doesn't count as family is effed up beyond belief and definitely makes you an a-hole. You're the a-hole. From a child whose stepmother treated her own children better, you are an unbelievable a-hole, and you should be ashamed of yourself. How frickin' dare you? I feel bad for him because if this would even cross your mind, you probably treat him worse at home too. Quote, just my family just once? You married his father, you are his family, and in his family. You are the evil stepmother. You're the a-hole, absolutely 100%. You married his father, which means your stepson is part of your family. Quote, my son doesn't have another parent. Ha ha ha. Technically, your stepson doesn't have another parent. He has an incubator and egg donor who doesn't want him. You're going to tell him you don't want him either, and that's a crap thing to do. You're the a-hole, and so is your husband. Your husband isn't just an a-hole, but also a horrible father for exposing his son to someone like you. Your 10-year-old shouldn't be allowed to go on this vacation either, because he isn't your husband's son. So if stepson misses out, then so should your son. It's only fair if we go off on your stupid messed up logic. I feel sorry for this poor kid. I bet he's left out of a lot of things. Toys, treats, food, God knows what else. You honestly disgust me. Whew, yeah, I think I was right about the comments there. Okay, on to an update. We definitely won't be going on vacation without stepson. After a couple hours of replies, I decided to show this to my husband. We sat down and had a really long talk about it. He told me he's never been comfortable with my attitude to stepson, but didn't know how to say to me before. I don't want to be a bad person. I just never thought of stepchildren being yours. I don't think it would be easy for anyone to accept this level of criticism, but all your replies have shown me I have a lot of work to do. As many of you suggested, and so did my husband, I intend to see a therapist to help me out with that. As I said, I don't hate the stepson in any way. I've never been deliberately cruel to him. I've just always thought of him as my husband's child, but I realise my mindset needs to change. So I'm going to start working on that. I want my family to be the best it can be, and I need to accept that it includes my stepson. I understand that now, and I'm going to start seeing a therapist to become a better person. We've also talked about maybe having family therapy too. I've also made up with my mum, and she is 100% behind the changes I want to make in my life. It wasn't easy to hear everything you said, but I understand that I needed to hear it. Yeah, I mean, great self-awareness there. You love to see it. Okay, Opie makes a new update, 1 year later. In July 2023, I wrote a post on the Am I the A-hole subreddit about taking a family vacation without my stepson. I wasn't given permission to post an update to my original post on the subreddit because the replies I got were too heated, and the mods advised me to post an update to my profile instead. When I made my original post, I was told by literally thousands of people that I was an a-hole, and it helped me see how wrong I was and had been for the last 5 years. I booked a therapy appointment the following week and started working through my issues. My own father died when I was less than a year old. I don't even remember him. My mother married another man when I was 7, but he left when I was 11 and I never saw him again. It hurt me in a way that I'd never processed before. I loved him, he'd been my dad, and suddenly he was just gone. That taught me that step-relatives weren't part of your family. They weren't forever. I always thought I was doing better than my ex-stepdad because I provided for my stepson and I stayed in his life. I was better than my ex-stepdad, but I made my stepson feel the way my ex-stepdad made me feel when he left me, and I regret it so much. A little while after I started therapy, we started family therapy too. The therapist helped me explain to my stepson the way I felt about step-relatives and why I'd always behaved the way I did. He cried and said he was afraid that I just didn't like him, and we had the first proper talk we'd ever had. I told him that wasn't true, and I'd just been a bad step-parent like my ex-stepdad had been to me. My relationship with my stepson is so much better now. We spend time together, just the two of us, and except for this post, I never call him or think of him as my stepson. He's my son. I accept now that he'll always be my son, that unlike my ex-stepdad, he's forever. Even if something happens between me and his dad, he'll still be my son. Most of all, he always called me by my first name, but last Thanksgiving, he asked to start calling me Mum. It made me so happy. I told him that I loved him, and he said that he loved me too. Since then, he always just calls me Mum. A lot of people also talked about the ways my husband needed to improve, to be more assertive and protective of his children. He knows that. It's very easy to see the problems when they're presented to you all at once in a Reddit post, but when things happen day to day, it's a lot harder to realise how issues are building up. But he's working hard, like we both are, to try to make our family the happiest it can be. We both know we still have to keep working at this. I'm still in therapy and we're still having family therapy, but I'm grateful to work at it. I'm grateful to have all of my children. It's very hard for me to write this, to think about the way things were before I started therapy. It makes me cry every time I think about it, but I want to thank you, Reddit. I wrote my original post just looking for validation from my own point of view, and I never thought the internet could change my life this way, but it has. I feel like for the first time, we're truly a family. Thank you all. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. The power of the internet, I suppose. But I'm going to throw it over to you guys. What are your thoughts about that one? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.